Hi, my name is David Masongsong. I'm from the Auto RS Group. I'm one of the trainers at the Auto Specialty Training Facility here in Toronto, Ontario. What we have in front of me here is a Lamborghini Huracan hood. Don't worry, the car is safe. The story behind this is the Lamborghini has gone through many owners, and in between the many owners, a paint protection film was put on the vehicle. Now, the current owner would like the paint protection film removed, and when we removed it, we found a lot of flaws in the paint. This is probably caused by different techniques of reapplying PPF, but unfortunately with the paint protection film, it hides a lot of those imperfections. So we decided that we're probably going to attempt to give this hood a better shine by doing some different techniques. And basically we're just going to give you a small sample of what we do here at the Auto Specialty Training Facility, and to give you guys an idea of what kind of training that you'll be getting. So here's a bit of a couple of techniques that we're going to do, and I hope you enjoy. So I'm going to talk to you about a couple of the machines that we use here. So this is called a rotary. I have a small extension over here because when I do use a rotary, I like to get underneath, spoilers and wings, and that way I have enough clearance and I can see where the pad goes underneath that spoiler. Now, this attachment you could order online and everything, but it's a great attachment to put onto your rotary. What I have here is a very coarse wool pad, which is what we use to do some heavy cutting. It's not always needed, as the DAs these days have all the latest technology and other pads, but this is a great machine. We might use this for the hood, as we find a lot of deep scratches that are in this clear coat. And we're going to try to level it out. We're going to try it the most aggressive way first, only because I know that this is a Lamborghini and it has really hard clear coat. So we're going to attempt to remove some of these fine scratches with a rotary polisher, and then follow it up with our Bigfoot 21 Roots. This is a Mark II, and right I have here is a polishing pad. So right after we do the hard cut, we're going to go over it with a polishing pad. I might need to go do 3 stages, which is a cut and a medium cut to remove some of the haziness that the compound is going to leave. And then we finish it off with some polishing pads. All right. So some of the compound that we're using here is Menzerna. We're a huge fan of Menzerna. It gives it a great cut. It's a great cut. It gives us a great shine, and we haven't been disappointed as yet. So for a heavy cut, we start with 300, and then when we go for a medium cut, we'll get into the 25, and then to finish it off, we'll finish it off with a 3500. Super finish, which gives you a great high gloss cut onto the paint. So those are probably the 3 steps that we probably might have to use on this hood, and just to give it a great shine. So I don't know if you could see it, but there's a couple of those scratches when I put it in an angle right about here, and those scratches are really deep. They're right into the clear coat. And because they're so deep, we did attempt to use our rotary polisher, but was unable to remove some of those blemishes. So we might have to use a technique of, we will have to use a technique of wet sanding. So we'll show you what happens after we wet sand. So always work in sections, and what we're going to do is start off on this side and work our way down. We're going to fast forward through some of the process of what I'm doing here. I'm basically using my rotary polisher, making some passes, And afterwards, what I'll be doing is inspecting. Make sure you always inspect the panel or the area that you're working on. It's very important before you move on to the next step. I did see some areas where I wasn't impressed, so I'm not happy with it. I'll go over it again with my Makita and make a couple passes and focus just on the area that needed more correcting. And afterwards, I'll be going with my 2500 Manzurna, the medium cut, to go over the panel and have another inspection. So that last quarter of this hood looked pretty good. I moved over and did the next quarter of this hood and started doing some wet sanding using a 3-inch Creates Garage random orbital polisher with a 3-inch sanding disc. This is a 2000 grit sanding disc, and I had to do the entire quarter of this part of the hood. Reason being, I saw some really deep gouges and a lot of light scratches that are just not going away. So I started doing that whole quarter of this hood and noticed some areas that I had to touch up. Afterwards, I went over with it with a 4000 grit sanding disc with 3-inch Creates Garage. So after the wet sanding, I'm going over the sanded areas with my 300 Manzurna and my rotary polisher, and then I'll be going over it with my second step. So on my second step, I started to notice that I'm not able to remove some of the haziness created from the 300 Manzurna. Now this is normal. Sometimes you do got to change your setup. I switched over to a more of medium cut polishing pad with the 2500 Manzurna, just to eliminate some of that haziness created from the 300. Alright, I finished 2 stages of correcting this paint. I also sprayed it down with some isopropyl, which will eliminate some of that, no, sorry, not eliminate, but it'll remove some of the fillers that some of these compounds contain, and Manzurna does contain some fillers. So when you do apply the isopropyl, it'll remove the fillers and you can see your true work. So as I can see here, everything is nice. I corrected all those scratches that were in this, mainly in this area here, and it's ready for the final polish. Now, what I'll be using as my final polish, I think I mentioned it before, is a 3500 Manzurna compound, and I'll be using it on my roofs, roof A. And I will bring out more of that gloss and that shine, and a little bit of the haziness that's on the paint or the clear coat is caused from the 2500. It's not the full gloss as yet, so once you apply that 3500 on the hood or the panel you're working on, then it starts bringing out that gloss. Now what I did is basically the best method is to work section by section and not try to tackle off the entire panel. By doing that, you could focus on the areas that really need paint correction. Now, I did do I did 2 steps here, 2 steps here, 2 steps here, and 2 steps at the very end, but this section here required some wet sanding because it looked like there were some gouges that were pretty deep. They were like long scratches in it. And now it's all been eliminated, it's been leveled out, and it's been corrected basically. So the shine of this hood is going to look amazing. The rest of the car has already been paint corrected. This hood just looked really bad because we found a lot of those imperfections underneath that PPF, which is your paint protection film. So I will go ahead and do the final stage on paint correction on here, just to give it that added shine. Alright, I just finished paint correction on this Lamborghini Huracan hood. It came out looking amazing. All the little paint imperfections and the scratches and swirls that you can see are now have been eliminated. We did take this the next step further by wet sanding some of the panels on this hood. That's only because we want a perfect finished product. This is a car that is going to be showing off everywhere, so we do want this to look as best as it can. This is a really good project and sample of what we do here at the Auto RS Group. Again, I am one of the trainers at Auto Specialty Training, and we train you on different methods and different tips and tricks and everything on paint correction, auto detailing, paintless dent repair, and so on and so forth. If you want more information on our training school, click the description down below. We do have a link to our website. Again, this is David. I'm from the Auto RS Group, and I hope you enjoyed.